Today we are going to discuss how WAFFLES will make you better at capturing moments in wedding photography. Don't worry, WAFFLES is just an acronym, but if you need to make yourself some, go ahead and do so now. I'm Brenda Bergreen, one half of a husband and wife photography team, and let's get right to it. First, it's important to understand what moments are and why they're important in wedding photography. So if you close your eyes and you picture the perfect wedding day, either your real one or an imagined one, what do you picture? Do you picture the tear in your dad's eye, or your brother's drunken speech, or your best friend's dancing on the dance floor? Maybe the moment your grandma gave you her pearl bracelet to wear. If you picture that wedding day and you're picturing the memories, what you're picturing is the moments that made it important. These moments are what makes a wedding special. These moments are what the bride and groom and their family want to remember. And it's our job as wedding photographers to capture these moments. So we're gonna use WAFFLES to help us do so. If we think about moments as those glimpses in time from the memory of the emotion behind what happened, of telling a story behind the day, that's what we're working towards. And so as a photographer, you want to think about what is the story you want to tell? What is the moment that you're looking for? What are the feelings and emotions that are in the air on the wedding day? Before we can get to the moment, ideally we want to think about having good light and good composition. Those kind of come first because you want to have your light, composition, and then wait for the moment. So you look at the room, you figure out where the good light is, you find an interesting composition, and then when it comes to the moment, that's something you can't control. That's something you can't set up for. That's something you have to wait for and be patient. Ideally, your photos will have great light, great composition, and great moments. Ideally, all of those things are contained in the perfect photo. But the reality is, a photo that just tells an intriguing moment can succeed on its own. Maybe the light's not great, maybe the composition wasn't perfect, but you were there to capture that moment. That can make a great photo all on its own. So yes, light and composition are important, and I'll link to some videos about light that might help you increase your knowledge on that, since photography is a lot about light. But when it comes to wedding photography and what we're talking about today, it's all about capturing the moment. So I already gave you a clue to what the first letter in our acronym is. The W is for wait. It's all about waiting. It's all about having patience. It's all about knowing that a moment is coming, predicting that a moment is coming, and then being patient enough to sit there and have your finger hovering over the trigger, waiting for that perfect moment to happen. So often we take a picture and move and take a picture and move and take a picture and move, and if we don't wait, we're missing the moments. Naturally, waiting gets easier with our second letter in the acronym, which is anticipate. So yeah, we're gonna wait for the moment, but the more familiar you are with your clients, the more familiar you are with a wedding day, you can anticipate when the moments might happen to make sure you're in the right position. So you might be thinking ahead once you see the ceremony site, what the perfect light's gonna be, what the perfect composition is gonna be, and you know the moment you're looking for isn't happening till later. So you can have the light and composition in your head, and then you can anticipate when that moment's gonna happen and make sure you're in position beforehand. So wait, and even better, anticipate before the moment's going to happen. So if you hear somebody telling a joke, you know there's gonna be a punchline and you can anticipate that everybody might laugh. Or if you know that the bride's mom is coming in from the other room, you know that that might be a moment to capture. The more familiar you are with the wedding day, the easier it will be to anticipate. The easier it is to anticipate, the less waiting you'll have to do, at least the less fruitless waiting you'll have to do. Your waiting will be intentional. The next letter in our acronym is F, and it's for feelings. So I talked earlier about the emotions of a moment. We really want to try to capture the feeling. And sometimes you can do that with the light and the composition. So if you know if it's a serious moment, you might choose your light accordingly and then wait for photographing how it feels, not just how it looks. And so if somebody's crying, you're gonna photograph how it feels. Some of the different ways to capture how it feels is to change your composition by getting high or low or close or far. Is it a super intimate moment? You might want to get closer and capture that moment through a tighter composition. Or if it's more like we're peeking in, you might back away and shoot through a door, through a window to capture the feeling of this private moment. And so you can really use light and composition along with your moment to create a feeling. The next letter in our acronym is focus. What are you focusing on? If you think about moments and emotions and storytelling, a lot of that happens at weddings with the hands or the eyes. You see, where is somebody looking, or are they tearing up, or are they laughing, or are they handing something to somebody? So when you think about the moment, you want to focus on what about the moment is telling the story, what about the moment is creating the emotion. So it might be an object, it might be the eyes, it might be the hands. So the second F is focus. Where is your focus in the image? What's the main thing you're looking at to help tell the story? Next we come to L, which is listen. And so we think we're doing everything with our eyes, but we're also listening for the crescendo of the moment. We're listening for when everything reaches the climax and the moment's about to happen. If all the bridesmaids are sitting around telling stories, you can kind of hear everybody get more and more excited. You know the peak of the moment is coming, and you're able to do that not just by looking, but also by listening to what happens. Using all of our senses really helps us get immersed. We've talked about the feeling, and now we're talking about listening for that L. That's gonna really help us capture moments better, is using more of our senses in our shooting process. The E is one that you might not necessarily expect when it comes to capturing moments, but it's about engaging with your subjects. And so a lot of times people think, oh, I have to be a fly on the wall. I don't want to disturb anybody. I don't want them knowing I'm here. The reality is, if you're in the room and you've got a camera in your hand, they know you're there. And so there's no hiding, there's no being a fly on the wall. You're a photographer in the room, and you want to make everybody as comfortable with your presence as possible. You want to make them feel comfortable when you turn your camera to them, not like they're flinching when they see you do that, but more just comfortable. And how do we do that? By engaging. That's what that E stands for, engage. Engage with the room. You don't have to be there telling jokes and being the center of attention, but show that you care, show that you're present, show that you are in the moment as much as everybody else. That's gonna help make everybody more comfortable, less camera shy, and they'll engage back with you. You engage with them, they'll engage back with you. Not that we want them looking at the camera, but just that we want them comfortable with the camera. So E for engage, we wanna relate to the people in the room, we want to connect with them, and we want them to trust us. And we can't just have one waffle, we want to have waffles with an S, which means shoot, 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 shoot. We want to shoot through the moment. And so we think, oh, here comes the crescendo, I'm hearing it, the joke's about to end, everybody's laughing. And then if I stop shooting, what happens if they laughed harder? Or what happens if somebody snorted at the end of the laugh? I missed it because I stopped shooting. So even though we're trying to anticipate the moment, listen for the crescendo and capture that, don't stop shooting because you think you got it. There might be a more emotional moment the second after. Or the same thing comes with like a posed photo. You have a posed photo and you shoot the posed photo and then you say like, okay, everybody, thanks. Like that next moment might be perfect because they're done engaging with you, they're done staring at the camera for this posed group shot, and then they might turn to each other and laugh or play or have some sort of moment that's more real than the posed shot where you had them with their arms around each other. And so that S in waffles is shoot, shoot, shoot through the moment to make sure you capture the peak thing, or to make sure you don't miss anything after that comes after something that you just saw. So let's just review how waffles will make us better at shooting moments when it comes to wedding photography. Wait, anticipate, feel, focus, listen, engage, and shoot through the moment. How do we apply this? How do we get better at it? Let's talk for a moment about ways that we can practice outside of weddings. So you can have your camera with you when you're with your friends, and you know your friends really well, so it's a great time to put this into practice. Or if you have kids, this is a great way to put this into practice. Get your light, get your composition, and then wait for the moment and capture it. See how that feels, practice that. The great thing about practicing outside of a wedding is that there's no pressure. So you can be with your friends or your kids, and you can think about what you want to create and just try to create it without pressure. Great photos are about knowing what you want and then waiting to capture it. And what we can do when we're practicing is you can ask yourself why. Why am I taking this photo? What is the feeling I'm trying to capture? Another thing that you can do is when you look back on the photos that you shot, you can ask yourself why. Why did I take this photo? What was I feeling? What was I trying to communicate? And does it accomplish that? Another thing that you can do is you can take a posed photo of some friends like we talked about, or of your kids, and you can take the photo and say, oh yay, thank you, and then keep shooting after you release them and take a photo of the moments that happen after you release them and let them go. That practice of shooting through the moment, shooting after the posed photo. The posed photo is not necessarily a moment, but the next thing that happens might be. You can even do that with your iPhone just to practice looking for that and waiting for that. And then the last technique that you can practice is putting some constraints on yourself and embracing those constraints. So it's really easy to, when I say shoot through the moment, you're like click, 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 right? But what if you say, okay, I'm gonna take one photo and I'm really gonna practice that patience. So I'm not gonna rely on just taking a bunch of photos to get the moment. I'm gonna wait and then click when I think it's the moment, and kind of practice how those constraints help you really see the moment happen. They really help you anticipate and wait. So hopefully the WAFFLES acronym will help you increase your skill capturing moments in wedding photography. And those few tips and techniques that I gave you there at the end might be things that you can practice to really start seeing moments, waiting for moments, caring about moments, so that you can tell better stories with your photos. Thanks for being here. It really helps us if you hit that subscribe button. We're looking for more subscribers so that we can make more content like this. If you have any questions or comments, be sure to leave them down below. Mark will probably respond for me. Till next time, seek some moments, and I'd love to see what you create.